Okay, so today is Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That yawn was not intentional. That just kind of happened that way. But, good morning. Hope y'all have been having a good week so far. Hope it's been a really good month. I feel like I've had a good week. And there's some stuff that happened like yesterday that I didn't write down, so I'll start with those so I don't forget them. Well, I guess this one wasn't yesterday, it was a couple days ago, but I never wrote it down. Anyways, so thing number one is I was talking to some of my friends the other day, and Wyatt and Chris were telling me that they kind of want to, they're in a Persona mood, but don't know what Persona game to play. And later that day, Wyatt sends me a screenshot of him playing SMT3, and he named his demi-fiend John Yakuza, because Wyatt's a really big, Yakuza or like a Dragon fan, and I'm sorry, like, anytime I see John Yakuza, I just laugh so hard. It just cracked me up. But the day after, so I'm like, oh, okay, like, he's playing SMT3, Chris is there, so I don't know if they're actively switching off, if it's just like, Chris is hanging out, watching Wyatt play, and then when I go over the next day, and I'm expecting to see them playing SMT3, it said they're playing Metaphor, and I was so excited and so psyched, and so Wyatt's like, yeah, like SMT3, John Yakuza is more of like a, I'm playing this, but when Chris is here, we're going to be playing Metaphor together, and as someone who played that game earlier this year and loved it, I am so happy. I am so excited to just, like, catch up with them, like, talk about the game and, like, their progress with the game. I have said a few times, like, look, like, I don't want a backseat game. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Like, if it's okay, I'll give, like, some of my input. Like, maybe you want to have someone in this class for the boss, but, like, if you don't want to, that's fine. I gave them a hint when it came to the royal archetypes. Is like, look, you can do whatever you want, but what the game doesn't tell you is basically everyone has like a super class that's unique to them, and there are some requirements for that, and that kind of thing. So with certain characters, I might kind of just let them know, it's like, look, man, Heisman is gonna be some bullshit. Like, there's so much random stuff you have to do. It's worth it, but there's so much you will have to do for this, man. I'm really happy that they're playing Metaphor in another game that makes me really happy. Trails in the Sky has a demo. And I didn't know about this till, like, I don't know, like 9, 10 o'clock last night. So Clay and I played a little bit of the prologue. And if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I think the prologue is all of Roland? Because I believe it's Roland is the prologue, and then chapter 1 is Bose, and then chapter 2 is, that'd be Ruin, 3 would be Zeiss, and then chapter 4 is Grancel. And everything that happens afterwards is just like one chapter. I think that's right. It could be the prologue is just that very first chunk of the game, and it ends at the farm, and then the rest of Roland is chapter 1, Bose is chapter 2, etc., etc. And it's like, that almost sounds right, but I don't think it is. So if it's all the prologue, I think you could just do all of Roland as the demo. And if I remember correctly as well, when Kuro had its demo, I think it was supposed to be like the entirety of like the little prologue bit, and I think it included the first chapter. Well, I don't remember the name of the village now. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it at all. But the arc where Fairy joins. I won't go into any of the other stuff that happens in that chapter because there is quite a bit. But I believe it was like the prologue and the first chapter, because the prologue, like, it's a nice little demo, but it's not particularly long compared to, no, like, this is the entire first chunk, like, chapter of the game, I think. So that's probably something I will get to. I don't know if I'll do it today. Oh, he's very yawny. Well, I don't know if I'll get to it today, but I would like to go over it, just probably by the end of the weekend. Some other things. Also something I didn't write down. The Kirby Air Ride Direct, that, I'm going to be honest, like, I've played Kirby Air Ride, like, a few times. I didn't super get into it because I'm just not a big racing game guy. But just watching the Direct, I'm like, okay, number one, this looks fun. This looks really fun. I feel like this is a game I could probably get into, and not just because, like, I really like Kirby, but just a lot of the way the game works. This looks neat. Also, I remember seeing a tweet that was something along the lines of, y'all, we just witnessed a live murder. Because after this, Mario Kart World is gonna be dead. Like, kinda, yeah. Like, this looks more fun. Like, this, to me personally, like, this just kind of looks more engaging. And weirdly kind of deeper, even though it doesn't have a lot of, like, mechanics or a lot of buttons. I guess that's the thing, is, like, it doesn't have a lot of buttons, but there's so much, like, depth to the game. Like, how do you want to customize your cart? What kind of thing do you want to do? Like, now everyone has copy abilities. Everyone has their own unique... Sorry, it's not a Taken yet. Everyone has a unique set of skills. But, like, that's actually really cool and really interesting. Like, shit, there's a lot to this game. This looks super neat. And at the very end, I'm like, wait a second. Did you just tease a character like this with Smash Brothers? Oh my goodness. Okay. So is that like a DLC thing? Is it just we don't have the full roster yet? Because there was a lot of space on that roster screen. Maybe characters are just being hidden. I don't know. Because I really want to play as Marks. I didn't see Marks because I think Marks could have a fun cart, which would literally just be his little ball. Like, could you imagine freaking DDD just running on Marks's ball? Like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. Oh, I want that. And then I'm also like, okay, I'm like 90% sure that was just like Dark Meta Knight. I couldn't really see the character really well, but, it felt like kind of had, like, the cape and, all of that, but... Crack theory. It's gonna be wrong, but crack theory, is that, like, a Kirby version of, like, Kazuya? Because Sakurai and Harada are best friends. Like, like, could you imagine how funny that would be? It's like, alright, it's Kirby Air Ride. Also, here's like a Kirby-fied version of Kazuya. It'd be so freaking funny to me. I would love to see that. Again, 90% sure that not only is that not what the character is, it's just not gonna be a thing. Because I'm not expecting third-party characters in Kirby Air Ride. Maybe other Nintendo characters. Like, I'm 100% convinced that the next wave of Mario Kart is going to be Bonanza stuff. It's going to have Diddy, Dixie, K. Rool, like maybe a Kremling. It's going to have young Pauline. I don't think Funky was ever in Bonanzas, but I don't know. They might still add Funky Kong anyways. But I imagine stuff like that. So maybe in Kirby Air Ride, they'd be like, all right, here's Lunk. Here's Pikachu. Like, I don't know, but I doubt it. Kazuya would be really funny to me, though. I guess speaking of, like, Nintendo games, and competitive Nintendo games with Pikachu in it, yeah, I watched, like, the World Championships for Pokemon, specifically just the VGC stuff. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched most of the top 8, and then I watched the finals. Man, it's a lot like when I watch EVO, and I'm like, man, this is so cool. Like, I love stuff like this. Like, there was a play in the finals that it didn't win the set, but it won the game, so, like, the dude could survive another day, where it was 2v1. He was very clearly, like this dude is gonna lose. So he uses Encore, and what was that? I think it was the Brute Bonnet. He Encored it into Rage Powder. Because I think, what was it that happened? Because I think the Koraidon was gonna die, it was something. I think it was burned. So it was like, no matter what, it's boned. It ended up dying. Encored the brute bonnet so it couldn't attack. So the guy was able to kind of get the free win. I was like, oh man, like that was such a big brain play. Like there were so many points in that game where it's like, oh no, he's done. He's done. It's over. But would get a really good turn, like would be able to like really outthink his opponent, outmaneuver, like, oh, that was a good turn. That definitely bought him, like that bought him some time. And like maybe there's like a little bit, I don't remember. Again, sorry, I don't remember all the specifics, but just a little bit of like, that was good. That was good. That was good. That was a Mondo brain play. 100% good shit. I'm like, man, this is what I love about Pokemon. I remember hearing it described once as competitive Pokemon is like playing chess, but there's at least a 25% chance your piece will just explode after you're done moving it. Because for better or for worse, there is a lot of RNG in Pokemon. There was a Moody Smeargle that made it real. It was like top 4 or so. And yeah, Moody is an inherently luck-based thing. If you got Quick Claw, that's inherently luck-based. Crits. The fact that there's a lot of moves that could just straight up miss. But there's a lot of strategy and how do you build your team? What Pokemon do you bring? What moves are you going to do? How are you going to maneuver? Who are you going to protect? Are you not going to use protect? Are you going to switch? I love watching that kind of thing. I love watching the mind games play out and unfold. So I don't know if I'll ever get into competitive Pokemon, because like I said, it's the same thing with Evo, where I'm like, fighting games are so cool. I should play more fighting games. And I'll play fighting games for a bit and go, oh right, this is really cool and really fun. But I'm bad, and I get really frustrated, especially when I'm like, this is the input I'm trying to do, and I know the input, and I can do it reliably, except for this, like, match, where just every time I'm trying to do this one move, I just can't do it, and it's so annoying, it's so frustrating, but dang, it's fun. And speaking of which, I finally started playing Strive. I've only been playing for, like, a couple days, so I'm not good at the game. But I was like, okay. Because something I had said when Strive came out was, look, I don't know a lot about Guilty Gear, but I know Elfelt. And when Elfelt comes out, I will play Strive. And then she came out like a season or two ago, and I bought Elfelt, and then didn't play the game. I was like, all right, I think it's time to boot up Elfelt Strive. It was like, I'm going to try to learn this character, and I think she's genuinely really fun. But alas, I'm not good at game yet. Also, I think today is the day that Lucy came out. So I might just buy her whole, like, pass. Because that's the thing, like, I didn't buy the season pass for Elfelt. I just bought Elfelt. I feel like for Lucy, who else is in this pass? Is this when Dizzy dropped, or I don't remember if this was Dizzy or if Dizzy came out earlier. I mean, obviously she came out before Lucy. Like, was Testament in this season? Was that the previous season? I don't know. That's something I'd have to check. But I'm looking forward to playing more Guilty Gear and hopefully trying to get into it. I guess that's kind of my one thing, is there's the part of me that's like, I don't want to have to buy all this DLC if I'm not really going to get into the game and not stick with the game. Because I think right now a lot of the season passes are like half off, but that's still a non-zero amount. There's also the fact that I'm like, they said 2.0 is coming out next year. And what that says to me is it's like the Ultimate Edition, because it's like Xrd and Xrd Revelator. And if I remember correctly, everyone that was DLC in Xrd was like default in Revelator. So I'm like, well, if I just wait till next year, probably everyone will just be in that version of the game. So I should just get that version of the game. But also, I'm like, but that's like several months. And if I like don't really get into the game in these next few months, that's fine. But if I start really playing Guilty Gear, and if I can get like some of my friends into it, and like we actually start playing around with it, I'm like, then I'm gonna want to get the DLC so I can have the full roster. Because even though I'm probably just gonna be playing Elfelt, like I want to try other characters. Like I do want to try other characters, and How do they play? How do they feel? Because for all I know, I'm a Testament main, or like I'm a Bridget main, but I would have to, I'm a Gold Lewis main. There was a Gold Lewis in top 8 too, like that was super neat. And like, if I'm getting into the game, I want to have access to the full roster, but I might have, like, it's gonna cost money, but it might be worth it, but it won't be worth it if I'm just gonna get it here. But, you know, so we'll see how that goes. Seeing things that are going. I've been enjoying Ward quite a bit. I'm about halfway through Arc 3. I haven't done my video on Arc 2 yet. I have my notes ready to go. I'm contemplating just doing it after this video, but I also might just be like, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it over the weekend. I also still have my Digimon Survive video I need to do, because I have my notes on that one ready. It's just a matter of sitting down and recording it. I'm hoping to do it this weekend, but there might be other stuff I have to do, like Planet Trails in the Sky, but, I'm enjoying Ward quite a bit so far. Sorry, I heard a sound. I was like, is that my car making a weird sound? Is there like a mosquito in here? And I'm still not sure what the answer to that is. But I finished the edits of the manuscript I was working on, because I had said, I was like, I want to go and start book 2, but I can't start book 2 until... I feel like to get into the mindset of book 2, I kind of need to look at the ending of part 1, because I know some of the stuff that I had already written for the sequel no longer matches with the way the book ends. But was also like, I don't want to just do that. I kind of want to read the whole thing as just a way of, number one, enjoying the fruits of my labor. Like, I actually want to read the book I wrote. And also, just to kind of, one last little look. Are there any, like, typos, any, like, minor continuity issues, you know, blah, 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 just to try to polish it up. But I had also gotten a lot of feedback on the prologue in particular, with the sentiment being, it's good. There's some good stuff here. I think there's some intriguing stuff, but it just doesn't quite work. And I heard that enough times to go, okay, the prologue doesn't work. I need to fix it. So I had spent a while tinkering with it. It's apparently way better. Like, I've sent it to quite a few people who have read the original prologue as well. They're like, yeah, this new one is way better. And with some of the changes in there, it's like, I can see the ripple effect. So now I really want to go through the book, make those changes. Did. Absolutely loved it. It's like, man, I got, like, tinkering with the prologue took me like 2-3 weeks, I think. Part of it was the just like, all right, when do I actually have the motivation and energy to sit down and write? But, and then also like, well, I was cooking, but then I had to go to work. Or it's like, well, I was going, and now I hit a wall. And then the actual editing of the manuscript, that took like 2 weeks. I got that done really fast. I was thinking, I was like, man, I will probably finish this by the end of this week. And I finished it on Sunday, like Sunday morning. And, sorry, this nose got really itchy there for a second. Yeah, I ended up getting it done a lot faster than I thought. And part of it was genuinely hard for me to put down, because I really like the book. And that's a good feeling, where I can look through it and I'm not being like, I know I like this, I know this is good, but I don't know, it feels like kind of a chore to read it, and, you know, like, read it with trying to have this really, like, discerning eye, and here I'm like, no, I can't put this down, this is great, okay, that sentence is a little weird, let's tinker with it, yeah, this is awesome, it's nice. So now that I've done that, and I think I had said this before, it's like, watch, I'll do all of this to get into the mindset of book 2 and then flip back to Isla, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm flipping back to the parts that I had... sorry, my nose is really bothering me. But... oh, okay. Sorry, I looked at myself in the camera, and I saw this, like, the way the sun was, and I was like, is that a giant booger down my nose? And then moved. It wasn't, but I'm sorry, that was really funny. Anyways, though, I'm back to looking at the stuff I already edited for Isla and just kind of, I guess, re-editing, like kind of what I was saying with the other one, trying to look at it with some fresh eyes. Now that I've been like engrossed in something else, I can be a bit more fair and discerning here. So I'm trying to do that. And I guess just ending it with stuff that I watched. I watched Shin Godzilla in theaters, which I've seen the movie before, but it's been a good few years. Excuse me. That was also before I was like trying to really get into Godzilla. So Clay and I were talking about it as well. We do plan on resuming our Godzilla marathon. I think Sundays were the days where we're like, all right, this is going to be our Adventure Time day. So I think we're going to try to make that our Godzilla day now. I'm hopeful now that we can just resume and I don't want to say get through it, but make our way through it. So technically the next movie in our marathon is, what is it? I think it's Return of I almost said Godzilla Raids again. I'm like, no, that's Godzilla 2. I think it's The Return of Godzilla, which is the first, is it Heisei? I think? Because Showa's first, and I think it's Heisei, Millennium, and then Reiwa, which is the current era. And then, like, there's the MonsterVerse ones, but I think that's accurate. But I might talk to Clay and say, let's just go ahead and do the Reiwa era. Because we've already watched -1, we've already watched Shin. So I think it's just the animated trilogy, which I've heard is not good, but we're going to have to get to it anyways. It's like, look, and it's also kind of neat to me that what essentially ended our marathon previously was when we watched -1 in theaters. You're like, this is a good stopping point for now. And then what's like the end of the Reiwa era, and then the movie that's going to get us back into it is the start of the Reiwa era, both in theaters. I just think that's kind of neat. But, maybe we'll just do the animated trilogy and then go back to the Heisei era. Excuse me. And possibly if we're going to do that and just do the Reiwa era, we might just go and do the MonsterVerse movies. I've seen all of them, but we can just go ahead and say, let's just go ahead and do these again. Now we'll go back. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Watched Amazing Digital Circus episode 6, made a video on it. Really enjoyed it. It is my favorite episode of the show right now. I've started, oh gosh, I'm sorry, my nose is like so bad. Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to do the ward video, like sitting here like this. It's getting a little uncomfortably warm and my nose is like cooked. But started Victory Gundam, only about 3 episodes in. I've enjoyed it quite a bit so far. I was telling Clay the other day, I was like, you know, I still don't like Stardust Memory, but I think I've kind of come around on it. And even before when I did my video, I was like, look, I don't really like it, but I'm not like super negative. I feel like I'm a little less negative, but I still think it's fine. But I think Victory will be the first thing I've seen since War in the Pocket where I'm like, okay, I think we're back. I could be wrong, because I've heard Victory is very divisive because of just how bleak it is. But I don't know. I think that's something I like about Gundam. Because it's a war story. It is an anti-war story. I think bleak fits it pretty well. But again, I might watch Victory and go, this one's a bit too much. We'll see. Yeah, the only other thing to mention is over the weekend, I had my birthday. I turned 32. I am old. I am very old. And I did my video where I was like, I want to do a video. It's like, what's my favorite animated movie every year I've been alive? Because I just thought that'd be a fun idea. And I tried recording it on my birthday, but I don't know, for some reason, it just like didn't click. It didn't feel right. And I couldn't tell you why. It just was one of those days. But I recorded like a couple days after and it felt great. It felt really nice. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. I think that's it. So, I apologize for all the time I spent rubbing and scratching my nose. I'm gonna stop and probably go address that. So see ya.